This principle of psychology explains why you struggle to make friends. It's called the fundamental attribution error. When we evaluate our own mistakes or mishaps, we do it through the lens of circumstance or environment. In other words, we attribute our mistakes to external factors, something that's not inherent to who we are, but is a product of the circumstances that we found ourselves in, and thus influence the behavior that we engaged in. So if we make a mistake, or if we offend someone, or if we do something wrong, it can change. We can behave differently under different circumstances. But on the other hand, the fundamental attribution error tends to assign the mistakes or the faults of other people as being internal. In other words, it's a part of who they are. It's a part of their character. When someone does something that we dislike, that we disagree with, that offends us, we tend to label that person as being a bad person or as someone that we could never get along with. But in reality, they're probably also acting in part through circumstance or through environment. And here's where the fundamental attribution error comes into making friends. If we're consistently labeling other people based on their mistakes as inherent to who they are, we're going to have a really hard time making friends, because naturally, that means that our friends are people that 100% agree with us and never do anything wrong. And as you might imagine, that's impossible to do. So if we can shift and give them the same benefit of the doubt, that maybe there's something circumstantial that led them to behave that way that has no reflection on who they are as a person, then you'll find you're easier to forgive people, it's easier to understand people, and it's easier to befriend people. Something to keep in mind.